Hey guys, so you know these beautiful plants called the prayer plant? Today I'm gonna go over a few tips that will actually keep them super happy and healthy, because I know a lot of you love how these look, but oh my goodness, are they temperamental. So let's keep watching. Hey guys, Monet with Plante La Vie here. So today I'm gonna go over how to water, prune, the best lighting for the calatheas, where they're located and where they're actually from, and how to take care of them and how to have them thrive inside of your home. So as you guys may or may not know, these guys are tropical plants. They are native to South America and they actually grow on the forest bed floor. So you really want to think about creating a very similar type of environment. So more shade, but a lot of humidity. Now, for people that live maybe in the Northeast or live in drier climates, you want to make sure that you're giving your calatheas a really good amount of moisture. One way that you could do that is you could spritz the plant, you could put it in a more humid area of your home, such as like a bathroom, but you want to make sure that you're creating a really good synergistic ecosystem for them. Otherwise, they do get pretty crispy around the edge. For example, this is actually sunburnt right here because they do not like full sun. So if you put it in an area that gets a lot of sunlight, it doesn't like that. But we'll get to that. Okay, so we know where they're located. We know what kind of environment that we really want to create for them. So I'm actually going to water one of my calatheas right now. I tell every single one of my clients or my customers that you want to bottom water your calatheas. They prefer it, and it's also foolproof. This is probably one of the only plants that I actually bottom water because they like to stay pretty moist, they love a humid environment, but they hate sitting in water. So I really like for the plant and the soil to really get as much moisture as it wants, and then once it's done, it'll stop, okay? So let me see. Actually have, this is actually from in our house, this beautiful medallion, and he's pretty dry. You can probably see some of the roots here at the bottom. I'm just gonna set him in just like that. And as you can probably already see, he's starting to drink a little bit of the water. Some of it spilled out, but I'm gonna set it aside right here, and then in like 20 minutes we're gonna see what it looks like. So let's talk about a couple different calatheas. We've already seen this one. This one's actually called the Beauty Star. Beautiful, beautiful leaves, pointy texture right here. And the coloring is just so stunning. I think that's the reason why I love calatheas so much, is because not only do they move, right? They close up at night and they open wide during the day, but it just looks like nature just painted on these beautiful plants. And with that being said, they definitely need a lot of attention and a lot of love. I wouldn't put them under like the easiest plant to take care of, but if you're one of those plant parents that is like a helicopter plant mom, where you're constantly watching your plants, you're checking the soil, this is a great plant for you. They do get pretty big. I've seen them about 3 to 4 feet tall, so they get really, really tall. And they'll get really bushy as well. So it's a great plant. This is a 6-inch size. This is a great plant to start with, you know. They're pretty well rooted. I try to repot my calatheas once a year, probably in the summer. And I love a good, like a cocoa core or a peat moss, something that really helps to keep moisture in the soil so that they don't dry out so quickly. But sometimes I actually add a little bit of bark in there too, just to help with drainage, because like I said, they love moisture and humidity, but they really don't love sitting in water, which sounds very complicated, but trust me. Okay, another prayer plant or calathea are the rattlesnakes. These are probably by far my favorite. They are the most dramatic in terms of how they close at night. This one started to kind of do it, and then open during the day. This is our #1 seller too. I think I remember the very first time I saw one of these and I was stunned how beautiful they were. And the color of the leaves and the purple underneath, like I could have 20 of these in my home and be so happy. So now in terms of lighting, like I said, you want to create like a similar kind of lighting to where they grow actually in nature. So indirect sunlight is great, nothing direct because it will burn how the leaves and how delicate they are. You could do full shade for these guys. They don't need a ton of sunlight. They may not grow like crazy, but you want to put it in a place that doesn't have a draft, it doesn't get too cold. If you have them outside, just make sure to maintain the watering. Especially like I'm in Florida. The Florida heat is really intense, but they love the warmth, just not the full direct sun. So I love putting these like near a windowsill, on like a nightstand. You can put them in your bathroom. These are great bathroom plants. And the other great thing about these too is that these are all pet safe. So great if you have animals in your home and maybe they munch on plants, which you know is not great, but sometimes they get curious. This is a great plant to put inside of your home. Okay, here is the peacock or the myocana. This one actually ended up growing more bushy. So as you see, like I've seen these guys 3 to 4 feet tall, super long, because their stems get really long and then the leaves just kind of flutter out. But this one decided to grow more wide, which I love it. It's stunning. Now, as you can see right here, the roots are starting to come out of the bottom. And typically what I would recommend if someone were to get this kind of plant in this state is it's almost time to repot. Now, it's actually pretty chilly in Florida this month. We're like in the low 60s, which is pretty uncommon in March, but I would typically wait until it warms up above 70 degrees to 80 degrees before I shock the roots. You want to make sure to do it in like a very warm kind of climate in order for the roots to really get settled into its new environment. Okay, you guys, here's a little update. Look at that. Look how much I had it full to the top. And it's literally just drinking up so much water. Now, this is a pretty big plant. And this guy is actually pushing out a lot of new growth. I have some new growth like right here. I've got some pruning to do for sure. But this guy is huge. And he was half the size when I brought him into the house about 6 months ago. And it actually started to flower too, which is where those brown parts are. And if you guys did not know, Calatheas do bloom, okay? We've seen it in the Marantas before, but the normal prayer plants also bloom too, and they are stunning, stunning, white, beautiful flowers. The way I get them to bloom is warmth, but you need to fertilize your calatheas. I heavily recommend people to fertilize their houseplants. Why? Because they're not in nature embedded inside Mother Earth. They're not getting any nutrients. They're only getting nutrients from the soil that's in their plastic pot. So you have to make sure that during the spring and the summertime, you are regularly fertilizing your plants. I love a fish emulsion seaweed mixture, especially for my calatheas, because it's a good balance. Also, I prefer an organic fertilizer over a chemical because these guys, as you guys know, are very sensitive. See, I've got some brown edges here. This could be due to humidity. It also is probably it was like a bottom leaf here. So it could also be time, like as it's pushing more growth up, it's, you know, having the bottom leaves die off. But a lot of times fertilizers actually can burn the leaves of our calatheas, and it's really sad because sometimes we just don't know and we go to Home Depot and we just get Miracle Grow, or we get, which I'm not doubting any of those products, but sometimes we get a chemical fertilizer, and the toxins in the home are always not great. I love using organic products in my home, but not only that, the plants get kind of shocked and it'll actually burn the leaves. So sometimes if you're seeing some brown edges or yellow brown edges, it could just be that whatever fertilizer that you use, if it was inorganic, it could just be burning the leaves and stressing the plant out. Here's another type of Calathea. It is called the burley marks. Now, like 2 or 3 years ago, I saw these and was stunned how beautiful they are. I will say, out of all of them, these are really easy, and so are the rattlesnake. They're pretty hardy plants. Now, their stems are very similar, right? Stem structure is really similar. They grow from the stem here. But for some reason, these are just extremely hardy. I can honestly put them almost anywhere. I accidentally had this in full sun outside for a summer, and it did just fine. I had burnt leaves and I trimmed them off. It probably didn't love it all the time, but I watered it every day, and it was really, really beautiful. But these guys can handle full shade, and the leaf color is just so vibrant, like the purple and the lime green and the green or the purple underneath. It's just so beautiful that they're a very stunning plant. Same kind of care for these guys. You will see like the bottom leaves start to kind of die off a little bit. These kind of have just a little bit of stress marks on them. You can just trim them off just to allow more growth to come from the top. But other than that, they're really, really easy. Okay, so a myth that we're kind of gonna bust is the water. Now, a lot of people say you need to use distilled water or rainwater because the chemicals in the water burn the leaves. Now, I currently am on well water here. I did live in a place that had regular tap water from the city, and it could be, I feel like the #1 reason that people end up killing these plants is just the lack of humidity, or they're overwatering their calatheas. If you find that you have a lot of very crispy edges, it really typically means that there's not enough humidity in the air, or it's too cold if you keep your house below 75, or you're frying your plant. So don't be super discouraged by getting and having to go to the store and get distilled water. You could also take a tray of water if you wanted to. If you're bottom watering it the night before, let some of the water kind of evaporate, some of the chemicals in the water evaporate, and then you can bottom water your plant if that's easier for you. I used to take long afternoons and place all my plants outside if it rained here in Florida and just let rainwater get it, but sometimes only the top parts of the leaves will get the water and not the base of the roots. So sometimes that doesn't always work. So if you collect rainwater, awesome, just use that instead of putting them outside to let rainwater get them. I really think that bottom watering it, that has been my personal trick. I like to get planters with no drainage hole. This one is like a beautiful concrete planter that we had in the shop. And I love just setting water in there and just kind of setting the plant inside. And then I'm done. And actually, look how much water it took. That was just in like 15, maybe even less, in 15 minutes. Incredible, right? So this guy, I probably water him, I would say twice a month. Sometimes, probably in the summertime, I'll have to do once a week. But I really try not to overwater it because it'll stress the plant out. So I always like to lean on the side of underwatering as opposed to overwatering. And then bright filtered sunlight, fertilize it, and then give it lots of love. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any questions at all about calatheas, leave them down below. And thank you guys so much for watching this video. Stay tuned for next week.